What's up, everybody? I don't know if anyone will be able to join us on this one today. This is my first time going live on YouTube, and so I want to see what kind of audience from our subscribers that we could drum up. I want to talk about some essay I wrote a couple years ago called "What the Hell is Going On? The Plague of America's Urban Culture." And some of my thoughts and my philosophies about the world, and I just want to have a chance to create some content for you guys to get a glimpse of of how my mind works. I mean, it's not that important, but just really to know that I see you guys joining, and it's good to have you on here. But what the hell is going on? This world is crazy we're in, and when I mean what the hell is going on, I'm not cussing. I haven't forgotten that I'm a preacher. Just I'm talking about the hellish culture that we're living in. I mean, 118 or something like that school shootings in just a few months, and we've got government scandals, espionage. We got all kind of drug and just crazy stuff that's going on with opioids. And I want to talk about some of the symptoms of a hellish culture. First of all, hellish culture, it means that it's basically not a culture designed by heaven. What I'm saying, poverty and unemployment in our urban culture. I'm talking about ignorance. There just a lack of knowledge. The Bible says that we perish for lack of knowledge. Infanticide in the womb, of course. America, we are destroying the lives of babies in the womb because of their inconvenience and because of just the fact that we really don't value life until it's birthed. We got self-genocide in the streets, and so even if you're not a big anti-abortion person, you still gotta realize that we got people killing themselves. White on white crime, black on black crime, Chinese on Chinese crime, just Puerto Rican, Spanish, whatever, you name it, we're killing each other. And our children are killing our children. Drug addiction on the ramp. We're importing drugs into our country, and at alarming rates. We're getting the opioids from wherever we're getting them, and then bringing them back here. And the drug companies are creating these painkillers and prescribing them at alarming rates. And our old folk are addicted. Our young people are addicted. It's just a mess. Prison proliferation. I think Michelle Alexander's book totally sums that up. That the prison complex, the industrial prison industrial complex, about how the business of prisons is changing our world and really the new Jim Crow, as she calls it. We've got broken families at the highest level, empty churches at an alarming level. There's so much that we can talk about that shows and proves that our culture, the culture of our world, is really not a kingdom culture at this point. It is definitely hellish. And so when I say what the hell is going on, that's what I mean. That's what I'm shooting at. And so I got on today to talk about the hellish culture and some of the causes of it. Number one is I call it kidnapped nannies. The seemingly innocent babysitters that we choose that help us to pacify and occupy our children, and supervise them when we go about our selfish lives, and the unconnected mess that we've been possessed. It has been possessed by devilish, demonic messengers of hell with diabolical and destructive intentions, values. Television and the music industry and everything we use to entertain our children has been totally overwhelmed with a worldly agenda, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, and the lewdness and the witchcraft and the things that they mix into something that should be so innocent and so harmless has become just caustic at the highest level. And so you know, the it's not new, but we've turned our children over to these items that even in church, the kids are not engaged in church. They have in their laps some sort of entertainment that's feeding them something that's not feeding their spirit. Thank you guys for joining us. I don't know who it is. Make a comment or something. Let me know you're on here. Not only are the nannies we've picked have been kidnapped, but they've commandeered their companions. Our youngsters, our children are constantly being bombarded by their heroes in the music industry and all that others, and in their personal communication devices that are infecting their mind with viruses, if we want to call it that. The Bible says that righteous Lot, he vexed his righteous soul by the constant things that he constantly heard and saw while he was in Sodom, and the chaos and the addiction to pleasure and rebellion and anarchy and lawlessness. They're God haters, selfish and greedy and proud and apathetic and self-indulgent, self-entitled. All of this stuff they hear in their music, and it's so bad now that some of the rap they're not even using words. It's like I don't even know half the stuff some of these rappers are talking about, even in this one, and they're so unintelligible that you know there's really no value to some of the music that our children are consuming on a regular basis, and their companions, they who they choose to be with them and to comfort them and console them and to pump them up, when before their games, or get them focused before a test. The kind of stuff that our children are ingesting is really dangerous, and it's nothing new because it happens for every generation. We just have to teach our children to be discerning as you choose those things in your friends and your circles. We have a caustic. This is number 3. I think is another cause of the hellish culture is that we have our curiosity is caustic. It's toxic. We are interested in all the wrong things. Whether conspiracies running rampant in our minds, and really our field of interest is so twisted and so not where it should be for our communities, that we're not training our children to be lawyers and doctors and people who bring help, and engineers and architects that bring ideas, and building a balanced community, bankers and pharmacists and dry cleaners and barbers, and we're not teaching our children the right things to be curious about. They are just running around with their mind fixed on things that have no benefit, will not make them to be competitive in the world, and these things actually lock them into a slave mentality, which they've inherited honestly from previous generations. The fixation on the darkness of this world, and on the occult, and on Illuminati, and all of this nonsense that really does. The Bible says we shouldn't even speak of those things which are done in secret, because we're doing a better job teaching them about other things than teaching them about the scripture and the proper worldview of a Christian. And so you're free to comment on this one, but I think our curiosity has to be directed in places that are fruitful and that improve our community. I think that another issue, a cause of the hellish culture, is that the church has gone POW, with POWs, MIAs, that we've hunkered down, bunkered down into our little brick buildings, and we're on the defense instead of the offense. We're not spreading the gospel. We've forgotten that we're salt and light, and we should be wise and harmless as doves, but we have just been cowardly, chickens, totally ineffective in the world. And we are children of light, and the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. So, we really want to make sure that the church wakes up and stops hiding the power of the gospel that we have. The gospel, it breaks change. You know, we're so politically correct. We try to protect our jobs. We're not being witnesses. Prayer has been stripped from not just the schools, but even from our churches. You know, we allow people to rush us in and out. We got this assembly line of totally ineffective church. It's religious entertainment, and we really need to do better. And we don't have teaching in many of our churches. And I think that if we would awaken to the truth and teach those who come in through the door and empower them, we'd have greater impact on the world. I think that that the I guess I'll call it the blessings that God has bestowed on us as a church has made us very, very complacent, and we're obese. It's an obese workforce, and we're being transformed into something totally worthless, and you know, everything by remote, and you know, we just are feeding our bellies like Esau. Our God is our belly, and we need to be challenged. I'm just kind of talking and free, and I got, you know, really wanted to share this essay, which I'll put a link under it. But let me know your thoughts. I wish I could see the comments. I don't see who came on. Show live chat. Yeah, it's showing. So I want to see who's on. Say what's up, and how this is coming across. I want to talk about the fact that even our leadership is part of the problem. The leadership in our communities, that we're so human that really we lose our credibility. That and again, it's a lot of pressure. None of us are perfect, but what happens is that when we're not walking in character and integrity, then people lose confidence in the authority that is invested in us. And so we have to take responsibility for the fact that some of the decisions we make have undermined our ability to be effective at what God has called us to do. I think that our education system is also to blame, not just the religious leaders and the political leaders, but I think also that our educational system has had aimless lessons that they're not trying to produce competitive workforce. They're really in it to just get the paycheck. They're not instructing them in ways that will allow them to bring more power back to their communities when they're finished being educated. They have Common Core and all kind of other curriculums that are designed just to educate a workforce, and not innovators, not scientists, not world leaders and leaders in thought and art and those things. We don't have music, we don't have arts, we don't have skills building classes. They don't sew, they don't cook, they don't do anything. And our children need to be trained on how to think and how to live in the real world. And so those are kind of things that when I say what the hell is going on, that's kind of what I mean, that there's a wasting away of culture. There's a wasting away. There is a destructive pattern in urban America. And urban is dog whistle for the black community. But you know, there's more than just the black community that's wasting away. Our children are really not engaged at the level that they should be in order to make this world better than it was when we got here. A few solutions that I want to suggest is, number one, returning to family values, spending time with our kids, and becoming families again. We need to fire the nannies. We need to fire the televisions, the devices, and all of the stars and the fake heroes. We need to fire them, and dad needs to be the hero in the home again. Our homes need balance. Our homes need fathers and mothers and grandmothers. We need to return to those family values and love each other and support each other and help each other reach their goals. You know, nothing wrong with the kids being there and supporting them while they save money so they can buy a house, because home ownership is key for the transformation of our community, because what you own, you protect and you care for. I think after returning to family values, there should be a greater influence on children's companions, as well as changing the diet of our children by monitoring their time and intake of media, giving them wholesome resources of mind growing, faith nurturing authentic love, and authentic love displaying music and poetry, and teaching them to appreciate real beauty and craftsmanship and value themselves. There's so much we can talk about. um, and also help satisfy their curiosity, teach them truth, give them books, challenge them to think out the box, and trust God. I mean, the Lord he's not getting a fair shake because we're not talking about him. Everywhere we go, we don't want to offend anybody, but the truth is if we don't offend them, they'll never get saved. We gotta present the gospel to our children, and we can't leave them up to their own devices, because foolishness is in the heart of the child. I think that we need to find causes that we care about and fight for, and make sure that we teach our children to stand up against injustice anywhere, without fear, and know that sometimes you got to make sacrifice for advancement. We need to prepare our children for real life, because if not, they'll be in la la land, losing things that they were intended to keep, that God intended for them to keep. And so that's my little rant for the day. I wanted to put some fresh content up and let you guys know that the world, as bad as it looks, there's something we can do about it. That we could stand up and prepare ourselves to be heard and to be felt as kingdom citizens. We don't have to be filled with hate to make changes. We could do our part to make sure that people know that the world doesn't have to go to hell. Our inner cities are not hopeless. They just need a group of people to decide that they're going to make a difference right in their neighborhoods, and to change it one block at a time. So that's my little schmeal for the day. I hope you guys get a chance to hit the subscribe button and look at some of the other videos. Let me know what you'd like to talk about, and we come on live another day and chat with you about that. All right, blessings, peace to you.